under the yard, beast from the east, and you're watching Lights Out.
This is Lights Out. I'm Faisal Khan, and welcome to our first ever Lights Out podcast. Joining me here today are two solid members of Lights Out. On my right hand side is HF. How you doing? You alright?
Yeah, I'm good. You?
Yeah, not too bad. And on my left hand side is other fellow member of Lights Out, Ron. Ron, everything good?
Thank you for having me. Yeah,
no problem. Always a pleasure. What we're going to be doing is basically we'll be doing a podcast, just talking about the main matters in boxing. We're going to start off with the events of last Saturday night in Cardiff. Anthony Joshua defeating Joseph Parker, points decision. The first time in Anthony Joshua's career that he's won by points. I'll start off with you, Ron. What did you make of Anthony Joshua's victory and performance over Joseph Parker Saturday night in Cardiff?
I was generally overall impressed. It shows he's got another string to his bow. You know, he's known as a knockout artist. Prior to that, he had 20 fights, 20 knockouts. But he brought a different side to his game that we didn't think he had. I was particularly impressed with that jab that he used, keeping that distance away. You know, he knew coming into the fight there was a big deal with Parker's kind of superior hand speed. But I think he controlled that very well. So I was overall impressed. I don't think the Americans seemed as impressed. They thought it was a weakness that he didn't knock him out. But you've got to give credit where it's due. Parker was a champion, in his own right, undefeated, younger, and I think he did well. I think it was an overall good performance. Yeah.
A lot of people are kind of like not really happy with the performance from Anthony Joshua, but do you think the calibre of that fight, especially fighting against a world champion, do you think AJ went into that fight with the right strategy, with the right performance overall?
Yeah, I think going the distance for AJ was probably the best that could have happened to him. I mean, I personally had doubts about his stamina going into the fight because of what happened with Takam. I was actually even planning on putting a cheeky tenner on Parker because I thought if the fight goes after 7-8 rounds, AJ might gas out. I knew Parker could go the distance as he done with Ruiz and Fury. Yeah, exactly. So, and I thought with Parker's hand speed, he's gonna trouble AJ. But yeah, for AJ to show that he can go the distance, it's just gonna build his confidence going into the Wilder fight. Because Wilder, that guy can hit.
A lot of people didn't really give Joseph Parker a chance going into this AJ fight, especially with the year he had in 2017. Struggling against the likes of Hughie Fury and Andy Ruiz, and of course he struggled against Carlos Takam. But overall, what did you make of Joseph Parker's performance? Do you think it's a performance that the Parker camp could feel, well, do you know what, we put in a lot of effort into the fight, we gave a good showing of ourselves, or do you think he'll feel a slight bit disappointed?
Oh, of course he's going to feel disappointed. He's lost his own. In which fight wouldn't? He's a top prospect himself, and but I think he won a lot of respect from the British public. He's been linked with, since that fight, another fight back in the UK. Hughie Fury fight didn't do him favours. It was an untidy performance. Some claim that Hughie Fury won that. It's up for debate. But that Saturday night performance, I think. I mean, some of the Americans I read it on the Facebook forums that they thought that Parker won it, but I didn't see that. I think he only won, for me, 2-3 rounds. I think the middle round, maybe the early rounds, he got one. But the better work was done by AJ.
HF, in terms of the scorecard, how many rounds did you have AJ up by? Because me personally, I thought AJ won 10 of the 12 rounds.
I think Parker probably won the 5th and 6th round. Maybe could have given him one more after that. At the most 3 rounds. So that was 9, 3 rounds.
Do you think that maybe the spectacle, the idea of it being in a big stadium may have got to Joseph Parker?
I don't think so, because if you look at the fight, AJ was just keeping things at range. He was keeping his composure. He wasn't going flat out throwing punches. If you saw this fight, AJ was more hesitant in this fight than any other fight previously. Simply because he respected Parker as a fighter, respected his hand speed. Parker threw a few right hands. He caught AJ in a few rounds too. So I think AJ respected the caliber of opponent in front of him more than...
Before the fight, Ron, AJ turned around and said he's going to box. We'll see a different side to AJ.
Well, the word he used was boxing finesse. I think he lived up to that to some degree. It wasn't his usual knock him out of the ring and that's it, we'll move on. But I think he used his brains and tactical awareness. And I think they had a game plan, him and McCracken, that that this is how we're going to defeat this opposition. But I think that bodes well going forward. You know, you cannot not. I mean, it is the heavyweight division. All it takes is one punch, but sometimes you need to use street smarts and think, right, technically, you know, how am I going to break this guy down? I mean, Joseph Parker. Yes, I mean, going into the fight, he had that reach disadvantage. You know, AJ was a lot taller. You know, he kept him at range, kept him out of danger. I don't know. I mean, we agreed, didn't we, about the referee? I think he played a bit of a frustrating role in not letting the inside game develop.
Do you think that might have affected Parker's performance? Because at times in the fight, it looked like when Parker was having a right go, the referee might have got
it involved. I think it affected AJ more. Okay. Because if you saw when they came into the clinch, AJ kept trying to throw an uppercut. His game plan was to throw an uppercut inside. But the referee wouldn't allow it. Because AJ is a lot stronger, he could smother Parker, and the referee didn't allow it. I think the referee allowed more action in close range. AJ possibly could have stopped him late.
It was a war and a battle against Klitschko, and he didn't have the easiest times against Takam. Do you think maybe they've looked at them two performances and thought we need to change a few things because we don't want every fight to be an all-out shootout? Maybe.
Which is why I said going the distance will do wonders for his confidence. Now he knows he could go 12 rounds with no hesitation. He don't need to worry about, I'm in the 6th round now, I've got 6 more rounds to go, because he's been there before. He's done that before being 12
I mean, also what they've learned from that Takam fight was AJ was carrying a lot of weight, extra weight. He was a lot bulkier. And for this fight, he was a lot slimmer, a lot trim. I mean, he's probably one of the lightest he's been since
his past 6 fights.
Past 6 fights. I mean, probably around his when he made his debut, and he was a lot quicker to the punch. He was beating Parker to the punch quite often. That jab, he was it was brilliant,
Because someone was asking me, is it going to affect his punching power? I said, it'll go even better. Because speed will be behind the punch and the sharpness will be behind the punch. If you're throwing a punch with slow speed behind it, it's not going to be as devastating as a punch with speed in it. Going back to Mike Tyson.
I think he did lose a bit of sting, that was my opinion. If he had a bit of extra weight behind him, I think there could have been a bit more. Because he did catch Parker a few times, but didn't catch them sweetly enough.
I can't remember that sweet punch in
But I think the whole experience of going 12 rounds proving that he has got a tank in him, it does do wonders for the rest of his career. But moving on, another brilliant performance by another fellow British boxer, Whyte, knocking out the
let's go,
let's go, baby, beating Lucas Browne. I mean, it was a one-sided fight. A lot of people say that the cut to the eye affected Lucas Browne. But what did you make of Whyte's performance? Do you think that was his best performance of his career so far?
Because obviously his last fight was Hellenius,
and it wasn't.
It was a stinker, and I thought Whyte's a limited fighter. I didn't think he had it in him to be a world-class fighter. I thought he'd be a journeyman like Chisora. No disrespect to Chisora, but I heard he was training in youth facilities.
He was training in the garage in Sheffield.
He was training up in Loughborough here.
He lost to AJ in 2015, but he's had to do it the hard way. He's had to rebuild his career. So he's gone to America and he's won. He come through that war against Chisora. Obviously, the Hellenius fight wasn't his best performance, but he still had to beat what was in front of him. And now he's beaten an undefeated and a former world champion in Lucas Browne. What does that do for Whyte in terms of going forward for a world title shot?
Hey, it's a great time to be in British boxing, really, first of all. I think Whyte looked a lot slimmer, a lot trimmer. And I think he had to give him a bit more of a game plan. I liked him. He's
working the body.
Yeah, he's working the body, boxing smarts.
Yeah, absolutely.
I enjoyed that performance.
I actually thought.
But saying that, I did think that Lucas Browne it didn't look in shape. He looked like a cabbie. Some would say, just that shape of his.
Mark Tibbs said before the fight, coming back from a defeat like the AJ is always the toughest thing to do in boxing. Do you think that defeat was probably the best thing to happen to Whyte in his career?
It's all a learning curve. You learn from your mistakes. That's just part of life, isn't it? So, knowing where you went wrong, improving on that aspect of your game, and it's got those learning experiences have now enabled him to go and fight with Browne, knock him out, and now being mandatory for Wilder's belt. So it's.
In terms of the next step, AJ and Wilder. Now we all know there's no love lost between them two. AJ would love to fight Deontay Wilder, but Dillian Whyte is obviously in the mix. Kubrat Pulev's also
It's a
there.
little bit
Alexander
messy, isn't
Povetkin.
it? Yeah.
What do you think needs to happen next? What do you want to see next?
What
Because
do
me personally, don't get me wrong, the AJ Wilder is the clash everyone wants. But I think Dillian Whyte's done so well that he's rebuilt his career that I think now he deserves a world title fight. How long does he have to wait? What do you personally think should happen next?
Generally, I think it's a shame that it's not what in boxing it doesn't work like that. What someone that fighter deserves, and so I agree. I mean, Dillian Whyte's kind of fought himself into that position rather than kind of shooting his mouth off. He's kind of backed his point that he is a world level fighter. She belongs there with those guys. What I'd like to see, what I reckon is going to happen. I don't think the AJ and Wilder fight will happen next. I mean, who wouldn't want that fight to happen next?
What's it a case of though? Do you think it's down to money? Do you think it's the fact that Wilder won't come over
I think
here?
it's more towards building up the fight in America.
I agree. Yeah.
AJ, let's be honest, AJ is a mega superstar here, but he's not well known in America. I mean, if you look at Showtime ratings that come out last week, about 400,000 people watched the fight in a country of what 300 million, roughly around that. They want to build a fight up to be in a pay-per-view in America, and so he needs to fight in America with the US media behind him against a good American opponent who's going to sell the fight. And this is why Jerry Miller comes in.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
This is and Eddie Hearn's not stupid. Eddie Hearn knows Jerry Miller will sell the fight. He'll get knocked out for it, but it's just part towards building up the big Wilder fight.
Well, obviously Deontay Wilder refused to come to the fight. What did you guys make of that? Do you think that was mind games, or do you think he's done the right move by not telling him? Because me personally, I think the best thing that could have happened is Deontay Wilder turns up, gets in the ring after the fight, and calls out AJ face to face. Because you see, obviously, once Wilder beat Beaumont Stevan and once he beat Luis Ortiz, he's calling out AJ, but it would be so much better. I mean, like Fury and Wilder have got face to face before, and that got everyone excited.
But did the fight happen?
No, but obviously if circumstances were different, it might have happened. Yeah. But would the fight not have got more pumped up if Wilder had got into the ring? Yeah. And they just... I mean, it's all about the drama. It sells. Don't you think... I mean, of course, everyone wants to see that fight, but don't you think if they get into the ring and have a bit of a face-off, a bit of tongue-in-cheek, that's where people are thinking, like, come on now, you've got to make this fight happen now. This is the fight everyone wants to see.
Well, both camps seem to be kind of putting it on the other one, haven't they? I mean, I remember it was Shelley Finkel who...
Shelley Winkle.
What was his name? Shelley Finkel?
Shelley Finkel, but Eddie Girls called him Shelley Finkel.
I mean, he said that we've wrote him an email, they haven't got back to us. And then you've got Eddie Hearn saying the same thing, that they don't want the fight. So who do we believe it? I mean, is it a case of money talks? And
I think...
I mean, what is Wilder worth? I mean, he's asking... I mean, they offered 10 million, I heard the figure, and they turned it down, or I'm not sure what...
Wilder was initially asked for 50-50, wasn't it? And that was never going to happen. But I think now he's lowered the stance to 40% now.
The rumours are that Wilder's asking for $11 million just for a Dillian Whyte fight. So can you imagine how much he'll ask?
I don't think there's that much money in the Dillian Whyte
100% though. I think we all have to agree, when he does fight AJ, it can only be at one venue, and that's Wembley itself. It has to be
no, I don't think so. No, because if you crunch the
where
numbers,
else would you put that fight?
Las Vegas, T-Mobile Arena.
Yeah, but the likelihood is not going to happen in America.
Why not?
I don't think Eddie. I mean, don't get me wrong. For business-wise, it's a good move, but I don't think Eddie Hearn will want it to happen in America. I think he'll want it to happen in the UK.
I mean,
especially listen. You only have to look back at the Klitschko fight, how well that sold. That packed out Wembley. I don't know. It's going to go down as one of the best fights we've seen in the last decade. Money does talk, but why not make it happen in Wembley, the biggest stadium?
Does Wilder sell out stadiums? What's the biggest? America.
No, but AJ's fans will travel to America. The loyal fans.
I mean, he did say something about that. Remember, he was like, "I want to keep it in the UK."
20,000 tickets in Vegas will generate more of a revenue than 80,000 in Wembley, simply because of the prices of tickets.
You only have to look at the fan base Ricky Hatton used to take to America.
Yeah.
And Ricky Hatton was a big hit.
I'm just going by what AJ said at the end of the fight. Sorry to interrupt you. He said we're keeping it here. British boxing is on the rise. Let them come here. There's no point for us to go to America. And I was a bit disappointed by that.
Yeah.
Other boxing fight, I'd love to see AJ go to America, like Hatton's done, like Nazim Hamid's done, like Amir Khan's done. It's exciting, Let's say that. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah. To end this discussion, right? AJ versus Wilder HF, who wins?
Ask me tomorrow, I'll give you a different decision. Ask me today, I don't know. I mean, AJ boxes well. If AJ knows he can't afford to get hit in the right, so by the right hand, so he left his move towards his left. It all depends who's got the better game plan, who executes the better game plan. Because they both know each other's strengths and weaknesses. So whoever's more able to perform best on the night will win the fight. Before the Parker fight, I would have said Wilder by knockout.
Ron, he's got that experience now going for rounds. He's capable of changing his game plan.
Which is fair enough. Okay, in terms of boxing skills, I mean, AJ's got the amateur pedigree. He's won Olympic gold. I mean, we've seen that Parker fight.
But you got to remember one thing: Wilder's got more experience in the professional career. He's got over 40-odd fights.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of people that listen. For me, up until this Ortiz fight, Wilder had never really been tested, and I think Wilder proved that he can take a punch and that he has got a chin, because Luis Ortiz, 38 years old or not, gave a great account for himself. He put up we watched the fight together. So, I mean, we all talk about how good AJ can hit, but Wilder can also hit good too, and I think at the moment, judging by, I think Wilder has a better chin than AJ. That's me personally, that's what I think.
I'm going to say this, right? They both, in the heavyweight division, they both punch so hard that they can knock each other out with one punch.
Yeah.
They both been hurt obviously against Klitschko, and they got hurt against Ortiz. But what you do when you get hurt, they both showed character, they both showed heart, that they can withstand the pressure and keep on fighting. That's what makes this fight so big. Because, the ability to withstand pressure.
Dave Higgins, Joseph Parker's manager, turned around and said that AJ's got no heart. Eddie Hearn turned around and said, in front of 80,000 people, he got off the floor against one of the best fighters in the last generation or so in Klitschko. Do you think AJ has what it takes to, let's say for example, if it does happen, do you think AJ has what it takes to go over there and get into a full, because it's not a boxing match, I think it's a full-on shootout. Do you think AJ has what it takes to get into a full-on shootout?
I think Higgins is probably eating a slice of humble pie. I think he said a lot of things.
It's all tongue-in-cheek though.
Yeah, regardless. I mean, he made a few claims. He hasn't got a chin, and he hasn't got a heart. This, that, and the other. He was just telling his fighter. He bought it. I mean, he made Joseph Parker get a good payday that day, because of him, because of his mouth.
It's all psychological.
It's all psychological. Fair play to him. He believed in his fighter, so he proved him wrong. I mean, how that fight turns out,
Quick prediction: who wins, AJ or Wilder?
It's a heart versus mind, isn't it? Because you got Wilder, who's just got ridiculous power, awkwardness, his reach. I don't know.
Speed behind it.
We've got longer reach out of the two.
Wilder,
he's just his arms seem like never ending, don't they?
Me personally, I'm going to go for an AJ knockout. I think AJ knocks out Wilder.
I don't know if it's a knockout.
There's no way that fight goes. That fight does
not. That's what we probably said about Parker fight.
That fight does not.
We don't see it go to distance.
Yeah, but
that's what we said about the Parker fight. It was going to be AJ knockout, but fair play to him.
We'll be back in a bit with more boxing news, but I think me personally, AJ wins by knockout within 6 rounds. You can't make it by knockout.
You can't bet against any fighter.
Ron, quick prediction.
I think this is it. It's going to sound as strange as it is. AJ points.
AJ points.
I don't know why. I mean, I think he showed a lot of character in that fight.
Because they're going to respect that so much that they might not even tend to.
He knows what Wilder brings to the table, and Wilder is wild by nature. I mean, the way he throws his.
Let's move on to the next topic. Fight of the year, potentially one of the fights of the decade. Canelo Golovkin 2. It's been called off. Canelo's pulled out. He's failed the drugs test. How does that make you feel, especially after how good the first fight was?
One word, gutted. As a boxing fan, really looking forward to that. There's a lot of question marks over who won the first fight. Opinions are divided. It depends on which boxing fan you ask. Generally gutted.
Hey Jeff, what's your overall take on Canelo pulling out? Do you feel as if not only is he let down the boxing universe, there also needs to be a punishment?
I tell you who he has let down, the state of Nevada, because they're going to lose out on millions because of this.
They backed him up as well, didn't they? A bit?
Yeah, but that's all because of the money factor. But the fans are just. I mean, it tarnishes his legacy now, innit? Because look, you got Liam Smith now saying, was he juiced up for my fight? Because when Liam Smith lost the title to him, didn't he? And then Amir Khan's saying the same thing now. So it's always going to be a question mark on Canelo's victories now from now on. And if he beats Golovkin now, they're going to say if it's just juice, and if he loses, they're going to say, because he was juiced the first time. You know what I mean? So he's between a rock and a hard place now, isn't he?
So obviously it's a massive shame because as you said, you're gutted. It was a big fight. The first one was a brilliant fight, regardless of what people thought of the end result. The show goes on for Gennady Golovkin. Who do you think is the ideal replacement to take Canelo's place?
It's the short notice of the fight. If fighting a fight of that caliber, you want to be fully prepared. Let's be honest here. I've been hearing of Spike O'Sullivan. I think he's been looking to be drafted in. I mean, I can't look past Triple G in that fight there. Where does he go from there? I mean, it's only a matter of weeks away, aren't we?
I mean, whoever he fights, we basically know that Triple G is going to come out victorious. The reason why we were so excited about the Canelo fight is because 50-50 fight, wasn't it? Obviously, question marks over the first fight. Now it's just like a formality win now, isn't it? Routine win.
In the middleweight division, everyone knows the other champion's Billy Joe Saunders. Yeah. Scheduled to fight Martin Murray June 23rd. Fight's been rescheduled due to a hand injury for Billy Joe Saunders. Does it not make more sense? Billy Joe Saunders, a lot of people have backed him to get past Martin Murray. He was a good tough fighter. It's going to be a tough fight, no doubt about it. But does it not make more sense for Billy Joe Saunders to beat Martin Murray than to perhaps change May to, I don't know, maybe August, and then get an undisputed clash between GGG and Billy Joe Saunders? Because regardless of what you say about Billy Joe Saunders, the last few years he's really taken off.
Yes, I mean, his last performance in this Lemieux, he showed he's got levels. He absolutely outschooled Lemieux. He fought really intelligently, and he's kind of showing his true worth, what he is and what he's worth in his division. But the only doubt I have about Billy Joe Saunders, as much as I like him, as much as I think he's talented, is his injury record. He's kind of his body's let him down. If he can overcome that, I think he will overcome Murray. I think Murray's seen his best days are behind him now. That's my opinion. He's been unlucky in the past, but that'd be a great fight to make.
Hey Jeff, Golovkin, Billy Joe Saunders, is a fight you want to see?
It is a fight I want to see, but it would have been better if he had all 4 belts on the line.
You've got the boxer against the puncher.
I mean, I actually favour, after Billy Joe's last performance, I actually thought to myself, do you know what? Billy will beat Golovkin. And I stand by that. Because if they fight now, I'd put my money on BJ. Golovkin's going to come forward, pressure fight out, Billy just jab out the way, boxer draw out decision. Golovkin, has he got the legs at the age of 35, 36? Probably going to be 36 at the time as well. So it's an interesting fight and one that I hope they make. But obviously, if you're looking at around September time, you also got Canelo coming back. So that might take precedence as well. So it's an interesting time in the middleweight division.
Move on to the welterweight division. April 21st. The return of
King Khan.
Yeah.
Now, make a bit. I'm not comparing the two, but Muhammad Ali was at 5 years. He came back and he went to a whole new level.
3 years.
3 years. Sorry, 3 years. Amir Khan went to the jungle, almost got himself into a messy divorce.
He had his own idea of Ramadan in the jungle, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Would you make 2 years out of the ring? Do you think Amir Khan could still have what it takes? Do you think he's still got a say?
I don't know. In the welterweight division, if I'll be honest with you, no. I think the levels there, the fighters in that division, it's a tough old division, isn't it?
Do you honestly think, with being out of the ring for 2 years, do you think he could still come back in the boxing fold and get back to the very top?
Are you asking me? Do I think he can win a title in that division with the Garcias, with the Thurmans, with the Errol Spence? No. I just think his chin looks too vulnerable. He's been knocked down heavily on 3 occasions by Garcia, by who else is it again? Obviously, Bredis Prescott earlier, and Canelo. And I think you mentioned it. You say you can't train the chin. Once you've got a fragile, weak chin. As I'm growing up, we've followed him through the Olympics, haven't we?
Yeah.
Silver medalist, and he's beaten Mario Kindlin in his first fight, then he turned pro, and he was really exciting, fast hand speeds, like none other. But the issue is, throughout his career, even in the early days in his professional career, he's been knocked down.
He must be a nightmare to bet on, isn't it?
your heart's in your mouth.
Yeah,
You just,
yeah.
I remember that Maidana fight, listening to that on
10th
radio.
round.
HF in boxing, Bob Arum, Richard Schaefer, Frank Warren, some big promoters, but Amir Khan's probably the big promoter of them all now in Matchroom. Now, how much do you think that this is going to perhaps maybe help Amir Khan's career signing up with Matchroom? Because let's be honest, it's a move we never thought that was going to happen.
Well, he said it himself, hasn't he? That he tried to conquer America. He's done what he had to do in America. Now it's time to come back home and finish off the last stages of his career. And obviously, nowhere to go better than Matchroom. Matchroom's got Kell Brook. Who else has he got a 147 or 154 that he can beat up? Fight?
I know he's got a good bunch of heavyweights.
No heavyweights.
I mean, in that 147 division, I mean, that Kell Brook that fight makes sense, doesn't it?
And that's probably the ulterior motive for the fight, for signing up with Matchroom,
I mean,
isn't it?
but I just generally think that fight's it's just taking too long. We're getting bored of it.
It's like Mayweather Pacquiao. It's got to come to
But significantly, in the historic value, it won't be the
Do you
same.
not think, right, here's what I personally think. Do you not think, like how we get them fights where it's a potential world title eliminator? Do you think that's a career eliminator, whereas in both fighters have lost big fights? Kell Brook lost against Golovkin, lost against Errol Spence Jr. in his hometown. Khan lost against Canelo, which was a massive, massive push-up from welterweight to middleweight.
I mean,
Do you not think they're both at a point now in their career where they cannot afford to lose any of their fights? Because say when you want, Kell Brook did win his last fight against Sergey Rabchenko, so he's done what he's had to do. But do you not think it's ever so important now that Amir Khan delivers on April 21st in Liverpool?
I mean, I just want to add to that. I mean, Virgil Hunter was not keen on taking that Canelo fight. I think he made it very clear that that's no. He was doing it on the up
for the payday.
Prior to that,
Prior to that fight, I thought the first 5 rounds Amir Khan boxed brilliantly. I actually thought he boxed very well.
That was expected. That was
But the same thing happened against Garcia. He outboxed him. Garcia couldn't catch him.
So is this just more of a problem? Whereas we know he can box, he just can't take fights.
He can't. No, he just hasn't got the concentration level for 12 rounds.
Tony Bellew once said in boxing, no chins improve whatsoever at the crib.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't.
So do you personally think Amir Khan's chin will never get better?
No, it won't get better. All he could do is work on his defense. But it seems like he's not doing that either. I mean, he's better than what he done at Freddie Roach's gym, which is just gung ho attack. Words has obviously made him move around, work the jab more often.
I mean, you can see what
like you said, he's got some good victories with Algieri, Collazo, Devon Alexandra until he ran into Canelo. And the result was what we all predicted anyway. So I wouldn't rule Khan out too much in terms of what he's got left. I think he's got more than Kell Brook
said.
I don't know about Kell Brook.
Brook took a beating for 2 fights. Remember that?
I remember against 2 exceptional good fighters.
I think Golovkin, he put on a half decent show. He gave what he got. But I think Errol Spence Jr. proved why he is what he is today. Best
but what I'm trying to say, Khan's got more in the tank than Brook right now.
I disagree with that.
Brook's got the eye to...
I mean, but in terms of to write home about, I think Kell Brook's got a lot more going for him in the last few years than what Khan had. Khan has had his injuries with his hand, so he's been out of boxing. So, but then there's question marks. What has he got left? We don't know. I mean, we won't know until that Le Greco fight.
Because they say the first thing to go is speed, isn't it? And he's...
That's what he relies on.
That's what he relies on, isn't it?
Heavily, I know. Please, I hope he proves me wrong. I'd love to see an Amir Khan, reigning that. He had this kind of unifying the title like every boxer has when he's growing up and going throughout his career.
Moving on, May 5th, O2 Arena, the rematch, Bellew versus Hay. Ron, is it going to be hashtag revenge or hashtag repeat? Do you think Tony Bellew can upset the odds again and stop David Hay?
No, that's my honest opinion. I think Hay's going to have too much for him. I think even last time out, I think despite Hay having that injury and Bellew having a kind of like a 3 shots, let's just say, to get the shots off, he still couldn't knock him out. I mean, they had to throw the towel in because he couldn't carry on with fighting. That's my opinion. I reckon it will.
Hey Jeff, we watched the fight together, the first one. Regardless of what people say, one leg or not, for 5 rounds.
Bellew was doing well.
Bellew was doing well. I didn't think there was much in it, but it was tough to call. But you got to give credit where it's due because people talk about levels in boxing, say that there's no way Bellew could step up and go 3 rounds and fight the likes of David Hay. Yeah, he's done it. He stopped David Hay, injury or not. Do you think Tony Bellew is capable of doing it again, or do you think we're going to see the better David Hay?
I wouldn't say he's not capable of doing it again. I think Hay realised his mistakes from last time, which was he came in too heavy, way too heavy. This time he's lost a lot of weight. He's coming in lean. If the injuries don't get in the way, Hay should win. Hay's got enough firepower in his punches to still get rid of, let's say, a cruiserweight, light heavyweight. Bellew's gonna be confident. He knows what he can do to Hay, but a fully fit Hay stops.
Do you think this is like a last chance saloon for David Hay? Do you think if he loses here, that's it?
He said himself. He said that if he doesn't look good winning, he'll consider retirement. Let alone losing. That's out of the equation.
I mean, one thing I will say, from that defeat, regardless of injury or not injury, whatever, he's been humbled. Let's just say that.
Which is why he hasn't trash talked.
Trash talk, I mean, he's got nothing to trash talk about.
But do you not think, though, he underestimated Tony Bellew going to that first fight? Because me personally, I think he looked at that fight thinking, this guy's not a heavyweight, he's not going to be able to handle my power. I'll knock him out in 3-4 rounds. Do you think that was the case in the first fight?
I agree. I mean, look, Hay knew what heavyweight boxing was about. He's been doing it for the last few years. You know, he stepped up from cruiserweight and he left that behind. And Bellew was obviously in the cruiserweight division. And I think Hay potentially was overlooking him. You know, he was looking at the Joshua fight at one point. You know, he was like, "Look, put me in with him." And but that seems to be like a bit of a pipe dream for him now. When we hear heavyweight conversations,
we never hear his name. Do we?
It's a shame. 5 years ago, Hay was the main man. You know, when he was fighting Klitschko.
If we can get a convincing performance, a convincing victory from David Hay, regardless of the age, do you think he could be back in the mix to challenge the likes of a Deontay Wilder or Anthony Joshua or Joseph Parker?
I think he represents big money, so he's always going to be in the mix. As for how competent he'll be in the task at hand, don't know. I think Parker will knock him out. Parker showed me a lot. Parker's got a good chin, he's got speed, and he's obviously 10 years younger also, isn't he? So Hay doesn't stand much of a chance in terms of competition-wise.
I mean, when Wilder came over, I think when he was fighting Audley Harrison or someone, he was sparring with the Wilder, and he made, and it was
put down Wilder, didn't he? It was a long time.
I don't know if he put Wilder down, it was just the Wilder was swinging like he normally does, and
that was like 6 years ago.
But regardless, you could see that he gave a good shout, a good account of himself. If he wins convincingly, it could be a launch pad into fighting the lesser known kind of fights at the bottom. Who could he fight? Who would you
Dillian Whyte?
Not yet. Dillian Whyte's a little bit ahead. You think he won't?
Maybe. I think he'll beat Dillian Whyte.
I don't know. I mean, look at where Dillian Whyte is. Will he look at someone like with that realistic matching?
From this money, you got to look at it from this point of view. If he beats Tony Bellew, and he puts in a brilliant performance, an A-class performance, he's got to look at fighters like Dillian Whyte, perhaps maybe even a Povetkin or a Kubrat Pulev or maybe Jeremy Miller, because as HF said,
what does he offer?
As HF said,
money. No. But he's got nothing. No belts.
You're saying about money.
Ranking.
You're saying about money. There's a lot of rumours that David Hay is apparently skint.
I don't buy that.
I mean, yes, we know he's got Haymaker Promotions, but
he may be skint, but it doesn't mean he doesn't generate the money.
If you've seen the shows, the Haymaker Promotion, not really.
Yeah, because they're on the Dave TV, aren't they? So Dave TV can't offer that much money. Hay as a sole fighter.
If David Hay could win this fight, if he could beat Tony Bellew, who do you think is the right opponent after Tony Bellew?
For David Hay?
Or do you think there's a chance of a trilogy?
Yeah, a trilogy. Them two need each other more than they think, because they both are at a place where obviously Bellew can't fight any of the bigger heavyweights, and there's no money at cruiserweight.
Apart from Usyk and Gassiev,
but how much money is in that?
There's not a lot of money in that.
Who knows?
They're not well-known household names, are they? They're great fighters, Usyk and Gassiev.
I don't really see Bellew going down back to light heavyweight. I don't think
cruiserweight.
Nobody was that light heavyweight for a bit as well.
No, that would never happen. That would never happen.
Putting on the canvas. Right, prediction. May 5th, O2 Arena. Revenge or repeat?
Revenge. I think Hay will take it. It'll be a knockout, and as HF said, it could set up for a potential third fight. it's a good little cash cow for the both of them.
Yeah,
If they play their cards right.
HF.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Revenge
I'm
or repeat?
gonna agree with RJ. Revenge. If Hay comes in a lot lighter, injury free, then he shouldn't be too much for value.
I'm gonna go for repeat because I just don't think David Hayes got it in him anymore. I think the injuries, I think the lifestyle that he's been living, them 2 fights that he got when he first come back onto the scene.
Yeah,
I just
they were
think-
a joke, weren't they?
I just think the injuries are the main. I mean, look, the guy pulled out the fight for December because of an injury.
Not even prior to that. I mean, like
It's
against
just
Fury, he pulled out
twice.
twice.
Yeah.
I thought it was Fury.
Did the Klitschko one get postponed as well?
Yeah, I think
Mm.
it did. I think it did.
Yeah.
So,
So I'm going for repeat. You guys are going for revenge.
yeah, just based on just Hayes, natural heavyweight.
He's got everything for him.
He's a
innit?
natural. I mean, he's not a natural heavyweight. He's more natural than Bellew is. Bellew is
He's a
just
bit of a
fancying his
matchup.
chances against Hay because he's a
And
cruiserweight.
like you said, Value threw the kitchen sink at him and couldn't knock him out with one leg. With Hay with one leg.
Mm.
So if Hay's got 2 legs behind him, it's a different story.
It just depends, on if it's a fully fit Hay or is it patched up Hay. That's
Find out.
Mm.
It's a very get your balance for.
As you can see, an exciting few months ahead of us in the boxing world. Of course, it all begins in Liverpool. Back to business. Amir Khan with his first fight in literally over 2 years, taking on Phil Greco, and literally just a couple of weeks later made a 5th at the O2 Arena in London. Hashtag revenge or hashtag repeat the rematch, Tony Bellew versus David Hay. We want to thank you for joining Lights Out and for watching our podcast. Hopefully we'll be catching up with you guys soon. Ron, pleasure as always.
Thank you very much.
HF, always lovely seeing
You're
you.
welcome.
Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. And once again, thank you for watching Lights Out.